First, you gotta close your eyes.
Yeah? Why?
Because I don't want you to see where it's hid.
Oh, all right. I'll count to 10 and you better give it to me, see?
Don't worry, brother. I will.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now give it to me.
So you think you remember the 80s and 90s? The big hair, the neon, the screech of a dial-up modem? That's the easy stuff. Anyone can remember that. That's just scratching the surface. The real test, the one that separates the true latchkey kids from the tourists, is in the music. It's in the theme songs for stories that were beamed into our living rooms every single week. I'm about to play some of those memorable and iconic sing-along TV openings from the Gen X golden age. If you can name them all, you've earned your stripes. You're one of us. But if you find yourself just humming along, the title is just out of reach, and you might just be visiting our decade. Alright, here's how it works. I'll play the intro, you get a few seconds to lock in your answer, and then we'll reveal the show and take a quick trip down memory lane. Ready to prove your Gen X credentials? Let's do this then. Alright, here we go. Okay, first up. Just listen to that. The driving beat. The voiceover that gives you the entire backstory in 30 seconds. You have to know this one. It's practically in our DNA. You got it? If you yell the A-Team at your screen, you are 100% correct and you're off to a great start. For a crime they didn't commit, these 4 guys became the heroes we all secretly wanted on our side. From 1983 to 1987, the A-Team was pure escapist television. You had Hannibal, the master of plans, Faceman, the smooth talker, B.A. Baracus, the muscle with the fear of flying, and Howling Mad Murdoch, the wonderfully crazy pilot. They were soldiers of fortune, which just sounded incredibly cool to us as kids. They helped the little guy, took down the bullies, and did all with a lot of explosions. But here's the wildest thing about the show. Despite the constant hail of bullets and overturned cars, nobody ever, and I mean ever, got seriously hurt in the show. It was just pure cartoon violence that somehow felt completely harmless. It's crazy. And we have to talk about the van. That black and gray GMC Ventura with the red stripe wasn't just a van, it was a 5th member of the team. The show was a ratings monster, launching right after the Super Bowl in 1983 to a huge audience. It taught us about loyalty, justice, and how to build a cabbage launcher in the locked barn. A true masterpiece of its time. Let's move on. Alright, shake off the adrenaline. This next intro is a completely different vibe. It's a funky, grimy junkyard jam. That iconic bass line and harmonica melody could only come from one place. This is the sound of get-rich-quick schemes and a whole lot of hilarious complaining. You get it yet? You know you love this one, you big dummy. This show is Sanford and Son. If you got that, you are a true TV connoisseur. Running from 1972 to 1977, this show was an absolute trailblazer. Based on a British sitcom called Steptoe and Son, it was one of the first and most successful shows to star a predominantly black cast. Starring the legendary comedian Red Fox as the cantankerous Fred Sanford and Damon Wilson as his long-suffering son Lamont, this show was a ratings powerhouse for NBC. The theme song itself, titled The Street Beater, was composed by the one and only Quincy Jones. Rest in peace. The heart of the show was the hilarious dynamic between father and son in their Watts junkyard. And you can't talk about Fred Sanford without mentioning his signature move, the fake heart attack. Clutching his chest and yelling for his late wife, "I'm coming, Elizabeth." This is the big one.
I've never had pains like this before. Oh, this is the worst one I ever had, son. Oh, it's the worst one. This is a big one. I'm dying. You hear that, Elizabeth? I'm coming to join you, honey. Oh. Maybe that's Elizabeth.
That and the iconic beat-up 1951 Ford F1 pickup truck made the show unforgettable. Sanford and Son didn't just make us laugh, it broke barriers and helped redefine the American sitcom. Okay, it's time to shift gears again. We're going from a Watts junkyard to the sunny open waters of the Pacific. This intro is pure escapist joy. That soaring, feel-good theme song with this promise of romance is an invitation to leave your troubles behind. That iconic opening line, love, exciting and new, sung by the great Jack Jones, is an instant mood lifter. You know this one. Come aboard, we're expecting you. Of course, it's The Love Boat. From 1977 to 1986, this Aaron Spelling production was the ultimate fantasy getaway. Every week we set sail on the Pacific Princess with our trusty crew, Captain Stubing, Doc, Gopher, and Isaac the bartender. They were the welcoming faces, but the real magic was the revolving door of guests, a who's who of Hollywood legends and TV favorites playing passengers looking for a second chance at love. The Love Boat was more than a show. It was a cultural phenomenon that essentially served as a weekly hour-long advertisement for the cruise industry. It made the idea of a cruise vacation, once seen as a luxury for the ultra-rich, seem accessible and glamorous to everyone. Paired with shows like Fantasy Island on Saturday nights, it created a block of pure, feel-good television. It wasn't a show about complex problems. It was about floating paradise that guaranteed a happy ending, cementing its place as perfect, lighthearted escapism. Let's head to a deluxe department in the sky. This next intro is pure joy, a gospel-infused celebration of making it. The song tells you the whole story of moving on up, leaving the old neighborhood behind for the glamour of Manhattan. That jubilant song theme, with its iconic hand claps and choir, can only mean one thing. Come on, you got this. We're moving on up. It's the Jeffersons. Running for an incredible 11 seasons from 1975 to 1985, this show was a television giant. A spin-off of All in the Family, it followed George and Louise Jefferson as they had a dry cleaning business, allowed them to move from Queens to a fancy high-rise on the Upper East Side. The show, a creation of Norman Lear, brilliantly mined comedy from the culture clash between the hot-headed George and his wise, patient wife Wheezy, and their new wealthy neighbors. The theme song, Moving On Up, was co-written and performed by Janet Dubois, who you'll know as Bologna from Good Times. She wrote it as a promise to her own mother that she'd one day live in a deluxe apartment. The Jeffersons wasn't just funny, it was groundbreaking, featuring one of TV's first interracial married couples and becoming one of the longest running sitcoms in American history. Alright, let's keep the Norman Lear streak going. This next theme is pure soul. It's a gospel song that doesn't promise riches but celebrates just getting by. And it's all about scratching and surviving and finding the joy in the struggle. The lyrics are about temporary layoffs and easy credit ripoffs, but the feeling is pure resilience. You know this one. It's Good Times. Running from 1974 to 1979, this show was another landmark sitcom. A spin-off of Maude, it was television's first sitcom centered on a two-parent African-American family, the Evans family. Florida, James, and their 3 kids lived in a public housing project in Chicago, and the show didn't shy away from the realities of their lives. The theme song, with music by Dave Grusin and lyrics by Alan and Marilyn Bergman, perfectly captured the show's spirit. But the show's breakout star was Jimmy Walker as the oldest son, JJ. His lanky swagger and catchphrase, Dynamite, became a national phenomenon.
Hello. Aren't you glad you lit your fingers, Duty
walking because you got Kid Dynamite doing the talking.
The show also famously featured a young Janet Jackson as Penny, the abused neighborhood girl adopted by their neighbor Willona.
Hi.
How'd you get here?
I followed you. JJ, who is it? JJ, what a super name.
It's a little girl from the bus.
Is there something you want? Uh-huh. Kim.
Oh, you can't have me.
Are you married?
No.
Then I can't have you.
This was funny, important, and a real slice of 70s television. Okay, no more gentle nostalgia. Back to the action. This next intro is pure 80s sci-fi cool. A pulsing synth track with a futuristic car with that sweeping red light and a deep voiceover about a lone crusader in a dangerous world. The electronic beat is unmistakable. The car was the star, and this one is the easy one. Yes, that's right, it's Knight Rider. From 1982 to 1986, David Hasselhoff was Michael Knight, a crime fighter with a new face and a new identity, but his real partner was Kit, the Knight Industries 2000. Kit wasn't just a car. He was a super smart, talking Pontiac Firebird Trans Am that was practically indestructible. For every kid in the 80s, Kit was the coolest car you could possibly imagine. The soul of the show was the relationship between the adventurous Michael and the logical, sometimes sarcastic Kit. That opening sequence with the iconic theme music and the dramatic voiceover promised high-tech adventure every week. We all dreamed of having a car that could talk to us, had a turbo boost button, and could drive itself. Kit was the ultimate fantasy. The show was a massive hit. Another gem from creator Glenn A. Lawson, who also had a hand in Magnum P.I. It cemented David Hasselhoff as international star and made that black Trans Am a permanent piece of pop culture history. Let's move into the 90s now. This intro is an explosion of color, graffiti, and hip-hop. It tells a whole story in about a minute with a rap that became one of the most memorized theme songs of all time. If you can't rap this entire intro from your memory, you might have to turn in your Gen X card, my friend. This is a gimme. Now, this is a story all about how, of course, it's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. From 1990 to 1996, this show was a cultural reset. It took a rising rap star, Will Smith, and turned him into one of the world's biggest stars. The story of a street kid from Philly moving in with his rich aunt and uncle in Bel-Air was a classic fish out of water tale, but the show was so much more. The theme song was legendary, setting up the whole show before the first scene, but the show itself was groundbreaking. It was hilarious, driven by Will's incredible charisma, but it wasn't afraid to get serious either. It tackled race, class, and fatherhood in ways that were powerful and real. That one episode where Will's dad shows up and leaves again, ended with that gut-wrenching scene with Uncle Phil, is one of the most powerful moments in sitcom history. It proves that a comedy can have real depth and emotional weight. Alright, time for a theme song that tells you the whole plot before the show even starts. This one is upbeat,
What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
Let's get a little more grounded. No beaches, no supercars, just a little bar in Boston. This intro is unique. It's a collection of old-timey photos set to a gentle, melancholic piano ballad that builds into a warm, welcoming chorus. It's a song about wanting to go where everybody knows your name. You're singing it in your head right now. That's right, it's Cheers. And there will never be another show quite like it. Running for an incredible 11 seasons from 1982 to 1993, Cheers was the ultimate workplace comedy where the workplace was a neighborhood bar. The theme song, Where Everybody Knows Your Name, perfectly captured the show's appeal. It was a song about that universal desire for a place to belong, a third spot between work and home where you could just be you. And here's a fun fact. The song almost didn't happen. The producers wanted to use a different song, but legal issues got in the way, so they had to ask for a new one. Where Everybody Knows Your Name was what they came up with, and the songwriter, Gary Portnoy, ended up singing the final version himself. The show was a masterclass in comedy. Sam, Diane, Carla, Norm, Cliff, Frasier, Woody, these characters felt like old friends. Romance between Sam and Diane became the blueprint for countless sitcoms that followed. It taught us that sometimes the best therapy is just pulling up a stool and being among friends. Alright, let's go from the bar to a police precinct. This next intro is different. It's somber, almost sad. Just a simple, beautiful piano melody over a montage of a city waking up and police cars heading out into the cold morning light. No voiceover, no action, just a mood. That piano theme is iconic. It feels important. What show is it? This is Hill Street Blues. And if you know this one, you're a true TV connoisseur. Premiering in 1981, this show completely changed the police drama. Before this, cop shows were usually simple with a new case every week. This show was different. It used a handheld, documentary-style camera that made it feel gritty and real. It had a huge cast and juggled multiple storylines that carried over a few weeks. The show tackled tough issues like police corruption and brutality with a realism that had never been seen on network television. It wasn't a ratings hit at first, but critics loved it, and it won a record-breaking 8 Emmy Awards in its first season, which convinced the network to keep it on the air. You really can't overstate its influence. Often described as a blend of Chicago, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh, the fictional city that was the show's setting was meant to invoke the feel of a large urban center in the Midwest or Northeast. Although the snow included references to Chicago, such as the exterior of the police station, which was actually the real-life 7th District Police Station in Chicago, the creators maintained that it wasn't meant to be definitely set in any one specific city. I will always remember the show for that quiet opening and Sergeant Esterhaus's famous line at the end of every roll call. Let's be careful out there.
That's it, let's roll. Hey.
Let's be careful out there.
Time to lighten the mood a bit. This next intro is pure 90s family sitcom sweetness. A convertible driving over the Golden Gate Bridge, a happy family having a picnic, and a sentimental, upbeat theme song about a world that's waiting for you. Everywhere you look, there's a heart. You know this one. Have mercy. It's Full House, of course. From 1987 to 1995, the Tanner family was America's family. The premise was both sweet and a little sad. A widowed dad, Danny Tanner, gets his rock and roller brother-in-law Jesse and his comedian best friend Joey to help raise his 3 daughters. It was a show about an unconventional family making it work. The opening credits with that theme song, Everywhere You Look, are a pure shot of nostalgia. A lot of people think the house in the opening is one of the famous Painted Ladies in Alamo Square, but it's actually a different house located at 1709 Broderick Street. And while the show was set in San Francisco, it was almost all filmed on a soundstage in Los Angeles. The show was a huge hit and a key part of ABC's TGIF lineup. It launched the careers of John Stamos and, of course, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, who became massive stars after that. It was a show full of catchphrases, hugs, and life's lessons. A comfortable staple for a whole generation of kids, especially Gen X. Alright, get ready for another dose of pure 80s cheese, and I mean that in the best way possible. This intro is a country-fried, good old boy anthem featuring a bright orange muscle car flying through the air, and it's about two cousins, just to mean and no harm. That narrator's voice and that mistakable car horn, this is an easy one for any kid who grew up in the 80s. Yeehaw! It's the Dukes of Hazzard. Airing from 1979 to 1985, this show was pure, simple action comedy fun. Bo and Luke Duke and their cousin Daisy and their wise Uncle Jesse were always messing up the plans of Boss Hogg and Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane. But the real star of the show was the General Lee. That 1969 Dodge Charger with its orange paint, its famous roof, and its doors welded shut is one of the most famous cars in history, almost like the Batmobile. And it took a beating. They supposedly wrecked over 300 Dodge Chargers during the show's run. Their demand for 1969 Chargers actually created a nationwide shortage for the car. The jumps were legendary. To make the car fly right without nosediving, the crew had to pack hundreds of pounds of concrete in the trunk to balance it out. It was a simple show with a simple formula, but its mix of family values, southern charm, and incredible car stunts made it a massive hit. Hold up now, we ain't done yet. Let's take a quick breather. How y'all doing? Are you getting this? Or you feel these are too tough? Let me know your score in the comments. Which intro instantly took you back to your childhood living room? And which show are you screaming at us for not including yet? Drop your suggestions, because if you're loving this, we might just have to come back and make a part 2. Now, back to the quiz. Alright, let's dial up a little spookiness. This next intro is an instant classic of macabre surf rock cool. That twangy guitar riff is unforgettable. A perfect theme for a family that's creepy, kooky, and altogether ooky. Wait, wrong family. This is the other one. That driving, rocking instrumental theme can only belong to one address, 1313 Mockingbird Lane. That's right, it's the Munsters. From 1964 to 1966, this show was a brilliant satire of the wholesome American family sitcom. Produced by the creators of Leave It to Beaver, it took the classic suburban family and replaced them with iconic Universal monsters. Herman as Frankenstein's monster, Lily and Grandpa were vampires, and Little Eddie as a werewolf. The theme song, composed by Jack Marshall, was a Grammy-nominated surf rock instrumental that was as cool as it was catchy. The show's genius was in its premise. The Munsters saw themselves as perfectly normal, an average family completely unaware of how strange and frightening they appeared to the neighbors. They were a loving, blue-collar family of benign monsters, and their hilarious interactions with the normal world made that iconic show a classic. Back to some family. This next intro is jazzy and sophisticated, but also incredibly warm and full of love. It's famously changed every single season, featuring the family members dancing and just being themselves. That smooth jazz theme, the sweaters, the smiles, this is a big one. This, of course, is The Cosby Show. Running from 1984 to 1992, this show wasn't just a hit, it was a landmark. At a time when sitcoms were considered a dying genre, The Cosby Show came along and single-handedly revived it, becoming the #1 rated show for 5 years in a row. And it was the anchor of NBC's must-see TV. The show centered on the Huxtables, an upper-class African-American family in Brooklyn. Cliff was a doctor, and his wife Claire was a lawyer, and that was even revolutionary at that time. It showed a successful, stable, and loving black family, with shattered stereotypes and presented positive role models on a massive scale. The show intentionally focused on the universal trials and tribulations of raising a family. It was a cultural phenomenon with a huge international following, and it helped create a television landscape that was more diverse and representative for a new generation of family sitcoms. Alright, let's go from a loving home to a dingy garage in Manhattan. This intro is all mood. The show and a shot of a single cab driving over the Queensboro Bridge at dusk, set to a beautiful melancholy piano and saxophone theme. It's not funny, it's thoughtful. That beautiful jazzy theme song is instantly recognizable. It feels less like a sitcom and more like a movie. The show is Taxi. Running from 1978 to 1983, this show was a master class in ensemble comedy. It focused on a group of New York cabbies who all saw driving a taxi as a temporary gig while they pursued their real dreams, acting, boxing, art, but were mostly just stuck. Watching that taxi ride through New York City and hearing that music used to be what put myself and countless other folks to sleep at night. Here's a great piece of trivia. The theme, called Angela, was written by jazz legend Bob James. It was originally just a piece of music intended for a scene in one episode. Still, the producers loved its bittersweet vibe so much that they replaced their original, more upbeat theme with it before the show even aired. With a cast of future legends like Judd Hirsch, Danny DeVito, and Christopher Lloyd, Taxi was a brilliant, character-driven comedy that was both hilarious and incredibly human. Love that show. Here's the lightning round, y'all. Alright, you made it this far. You've proven your knowledge. Now let's see how you do under pressure. No more stories, no more fun facts, just intro, answer, next. This is the lightning round. 3 shows, a few seconds each, and let's see how fast you are. A soaring, optimistic theme song about flying on a wing and a prayer. Did you get it? That's the Greatest American Hero. Here's the next one. A lone, melancholy acoustic guitar playing over unforgettable, haunting melodies over shots of helicopters.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go!
Ah, that's right. It was MASH. And here's the next one. A super catchy, upbeat pop jingle about it and taking the good, bad, and learning the facts of life. Oh, I think I gave it away. It was the facts of life. You got it. Well, and that's the test. How did you do? Were you singing along to every single one? Or did a few of these stump you? Let me know about your final score in the comments below. Which TV intro instantly took you back to your childhood, sitting on a shag carpet, waiting for your favorite show to start? And more importantly, which essential Gen X classic did we miss? Was it Growing Pains? Was it Roseanne? Oh, maybe Married with Children. Drop your suggestions because the vault of Gen X nostalgia is too deep to do in one video, and we might just have to make a part 2. Thanks for taking this trip down memory lane with me. These opening sequences are so much more than just credits. They're little symphonies of memory that bonded a generation. If you had fun, hit that like button and subscribe for more proof that the 80s and 90s were without a doubt the best. Gen X. Peace.